criminal behavior is usually the family. And so it's really wonderful to see those relationships restored and for people to go back to their families and be welcomed in again. Usually there's a lot to prove first, but it's a pretty amazing thing to observe.
Now, that kind of leads into a question about family. Why didn't these men go home to their family instead of coming to Project 180?
The families either don't understand addiction, or there might be addiction issues in the home as well. And neither scenario is good for the individual who is usually pretty fresh in his recovery and trying to turn his life around. So it's extremely helpful if the individual can live with a group of others who are all headed toward the same goal, which is to stay in active recovery and to help others get into active recovery and stay in it and to live a law-abiding life.
That's great. Now, you initiated a lecture series. Is it Strong Voices? Isn't that the title of the series?
Yes, Strong Voices, Strong Subjects, yes.
Strong. I knew there was another part to it, Strong Subject. Okay. What was your purpose in starting a unique series like that? And tell us some of the themes that you highlighted in that series, maybe some of your guest speakers that came to talk.
Okay. The lecture series was something that we began in 2014 after doing a nationwide media audit on who was talking about prisoner reentry. And for the year of 2013, we only found 2 articles nationwide on prisoner reentry. So we decided to take the conversation into the community outside. I mean, you would hear about it in the halls of criminal justice and you would hear about it in scholarly circles, but you would never hear about it out in the community. So that's why we started it, was to educate the community, because one can educate individuals who are incarcerated, until the cows come home. But if those individuals return to an unwelcoming community, only half of the problem is solved. So we also need to educate community members about the issues that individuals face when they reenter, and also the effect on the community of unsuccessful or successful reentry, because these men and women have so much to offer. Our communities can improve if we give them a hand. Like, one of the things I try to say is, when we help them, we help ourselves. This is a matter of someone who is released from prison. They are now a community member, no longer someone who has been basically taken away from the community. So it's helpful if we can work together to build a more cohesive community, a better functioning one. So some of the things that we have covered in our lecture series are barriers to successful reentry, the impact of disadvantage on incarceration and reentry. For example, poverty, that's a huge disadvantage and one that lends itself to incarceration. Let's see, most recently, we talked about this past year celebrating second chance employers. One of our keynote speakers was Dave Dahl, the creator and former owner of Dave's Killer Bread out of Oregon. This year, we will be talking about the intersection of trauma, addiction, and incarceration. And our keynote speaker lined up for this year is Dr. Hank Brightman of the U.S. Naval War College. who is a specialist both in criminology and in trauma. So we're very, very excited to have him as our speaker. And we've had other international and nationally known speakers throughout the years. We're entering our 8th season, so there have been quite a few different topics over the years.
And is this series done elsewhere, duplicated, or?
No, we started the series, and to our knowledge, it's the nation's only ongoing lecture series on prisoner reentry in the nation.
That's terrific. Now, if somebody wanted to hear any of these speakers, how would they do that?
They can go to our website, which is project180reentry.org, and we have a tab on the lecture series, so individuals can see all of the topics that we've covered through the years and find out how to obtain tickets for this year.
That's great. All right. So you mentioned First Week Out. What is that?
Well, it's a pilot program, and one of our volunteers came up with a name and an idea to take recently released individuals out to dinner. And I said, well, if we do that, we're going to be missing a whole range of things that they need probably before being taken out to dinner. And so we partnered with the Department of Corrections Probation Office for Sarasota County, and they send us lists of individuals who are going to be released, and we break those into months. We contact them about 6 to 8 weeks prior to their release, find out what their needs are, everything from whether they need housing, a cell phone, clothing, shoes, work clothes, everything, anything that we can think of. And they send that little survey back to us, and then we begin setting up someone to meet them when they arrive on the bus, a place for them to live, a scholarship for their first 2 weeks of their residency in one of the local programs that we like, and we get them food, clothing, whatever they need, and help them get off to a good start. And some of the guys we bring into our own program.
That's great. Where do you see, we're almost out of time, and I wanted to ask you, what's your long vision? Where do you see Project 180 in the next few years? What are your hopes and dreams for the project?
My most basic hope and dream is that Project 180 will become a model for other reentry programs throughout the United States. We really have taken it to the next level. The men in our program say that what's common is that they are brought into a program, shown a room, somebody says good luck, and that's about it. Our focus for our residential program is to take away the small barriers. Even like a trip to the grocery store could be monumental for someone who has no money, no transportation, no time, and no concept of how best to spend their money in a grocery store. So we try to take away those small barriers. So I hope that we can become a model for others. We would like to purchase our second home, which we currently rent. The landlord has indicated that they would be happy to do that for us and has given us a great cost for the home. We'd like to start a store on our website, specifically aimed at individuals in recovery. So your listeners can watch for that at project180reentry.org. And eventually, within the next 3 years, I think that it would be good for us to start our own credit union so that we can assist individuals in building their credit and getting small loans through us to, let's say, purchase their first car when they get out.
Sounds good to me. This is really wonderful. Well, Barbara, you really helped us understand the wider view of reentry by sharing your experience with a project that you deeply love and started several years back. We wish you well, and thank you so much for joining us today and giving us your precious time to tell us about Project 180.
Harriet, thank you so very, very much for all you do and for having me on the show.
You're very welcome. Thank you. And we'll see you next time on Pursuing Justice, where we will talk more about reentry with a man named John Eldon, who started after Innocence. So join us next time on Pursuing Justice. And thanks for listening.